Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Jackie Coogan, Arlene Galanka, Heidi Vaughn, Jonathan Lippy, Paul Lambert. Tonight's episode, Sing a Song of Murder.
Every time I touch the woman, yeah, she take me all around the world. Every time I touch the lady, every time I touch the girl, every time I touch the woman, yeah, she take me all around the world. And I'm blind. Just like a flower behind the shadow of a rock.
Don't bug him here.
I'll see him after the show. But why do I have to spend all night waiting for him? I mean, why, Sue? After all, we're his business managers.
Because he's the whale and you're the scavenger, Mr. Rooney. Definite? Uh-huh. See you later. Much later.
Lucky.
Rick must be settling down. 2 nights in a row with the same chick. Anything I can do for you, Gloria?
Everything's cool, Smitty. Thanks.
Oh, you're crazy, Rick.
That's you. Oh, we're here.
Hey, what's up?
I want you.
Okay, try and get it. You can't. You can't.
Hey, come back with my pool. I got
I'm making you a fool. Rick? Rick? Stop it! Rick, please. Please.
Look, Sue, maybe you ought to wait till tomorrow. You know, Rick is going to want to talk contracts.
We're settling it now.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. He could be dead to the world already, or what if he's got one of his girls?
Please, spare me your concern for him, huh? Show a little for us. Or haven't you looked at the bank statements of the mighty management concern of Rooney and Page, Mr. Rooney? Now, Rick happens to be the only moneymaker we've got. And that's because I brought him to you. And I am not gonna let him get away.
No?
Gloria, it's me. Listen, you gotta help me, please.
April? What's wrong?
We were just playing, that's all. Just Rick and me.
Rick! Ricky, you back there? Rick!
April, what happened?
Rick! Where are you? Rick! Hey, Rick, where? Sue! Sue! Don't look, Sue. He must have gone off the board and right onto his skull. Where are all those dames that are usually with him to stop him?
Whoever stopped Rick Michaels from doing anything?
Wow. Oh, boy. Sue.
Where are you going?
Well, there's a lot of things I gotta do. I gotta call an ambulance, call the police.
No. What we've got to do is not rush into anything. And what you've got to do is listen to me.
About what? The poor kid's dead.
Nobody else knows that.
Oh, you want a scoop for Variety or Rolling Stone, huh? Yeah, I can see the headline. Miss Sue Page announces that...
There still could be money in him for us yet.
I never heard of any lawyers paying commissions on dead superstars.
Who else knows that? Think about it. What does Carl Ludwig lose if Rick can't finish that concert tour? How much does it cost Earl Sampson if they don't finish that album or cut the other two for this year?
Now, look, honey. I know you can work miracles, but this is just a little beyond that. All right. Maybe Ludwig and Sampson lose $1 million. Maybe $2 million. Maybe $4 million. Who cares what they lose?
They care. That's why they'll pay $500,000 for Rick.
$500,000? To who?
It's kidnappers.
Kidnap? You mean kidnap the... Oh, You're crazy.
Am I? All right, call the police. We wind up with nothing. On the other hand, if we get rid of the body, find a ransom note, call Sampson and Ludwig, we make maybe $500,000.
All right. If they pay the money, they'll expect to get Rick back.
The kidnappers panic. The body was never found.
How do we get rid of the body?
With the rest of the garbage, darling.
this place smell like this?
Smells like money.
And the next thing I know, I get this spaced out call from her. She didn't make any sense. I have never heard anyone sound so scared. And then there was nothing.
Was she still with Rick Michaels when she called?
I have no idea. That's what's got me so uptight. She was hung up on him, sure, but he's way out. Freaky.
About April, Miss Vickers. Is she freaky?
Look, I know what you're thinking, but April didn't trip out. Not on hard stuff or on pills. She drinks a little. Maybe more than a little.
She might have been drunk when she made the call.
Maybe. But I know April. And she wouldn't cry wolf unless there was a problem. Something was wrong.
Why didn't you call the police?
April is my closest friend. And Rick is her friend. And he's a star. I didn't want to cause bad publicity.
You didn't want to open April's can of peas until you could see what was on the label.
Look, I'm worried. I want somebody to find out what's happened to her.
Miss April?
Yes,
I'll keep this if I may.
please.
You happen to have an address for this Rick Michaels?
Yeah. That and the address of the unemployment office is something we never forget.
Sue, what is so important you couldn't tell me on the phone? I had to change appointment with two of our record producers. I'm flying to London on the 4 o'clock flight.
Cancel it, Earl.
Carl, what are you doing here? Bill?
Same reason you are, Earl. Only it's not my concert bookings. Well, it is and it isn't. Earl, tell your secretary to cancel your flight. Use the phone in the car, please.
Perry, cancel. All right, what's happened with Rick?
He's been kidnapped, Earl.
Kidnapped? Holy. Well, is he all right? Kidnapped? Now, are you sure it's not some joke?
Yeah, Sue and I got over here about 10 o'clock this morning.
From the top, Earl. Phil and I met at the office this morning at 9 o'clock as usual. Compared notes about the concert. Phil drove us over. We found that note. No sign of Rick anywhere. He hadn't even been to bed.
Did you call the FBI or the police?
We thought we ought to call you fellas first. I mean, after all, you're close friends of Rick's, and he is the biggest star of both your companies, and so we figured we sort of owed it to you.
Well, I don't see what good it did, frankly, except waste time. The authorities know how to handle these things.
No, Sue. Phil's right. Don't you think so, Carl? If you call the police in on this, kidnappers will kill Rick. Look what they threaten.
Absolutely. We can't afford to take any chances. You pay the ransom and get him back. We'll call the police and play it all by the books.
Well, that's easier said than done about paying a ransom.
Well, one of you must have Rick's power of attorney.
Gentlemen, this may come as a shock to you, but Rick Michaels doesn't have $5,000 to his name, let alone $500,000.
But I paid him over $800,000 last year for 35 concerts.
3 gold record albums of ours?
Gentlemen, Rick Michaels isn't even above water with the IRS. Now, come on. You know him. Well, you know how wild he was. You remember when he gave that $24,000 Maserati to a DJ?
Well, now we know. All of it. I guess I better call the FBI.
No, Phil, wait.
Hold it, Phil.
Wait. We'll raise the money.
Earl. Oh, Carl. Oh, Rick will never forget you for this. I won't let him. He'll be thanking you for the rest of his life.
The important thing right now is getting him back as soon as possible. Now, that's the only thing. We've got a fortune riding on that kid. Now, I wouldn't want to have anything happen to him, of course, but business is business. We've got to protect our investment. All of us.
Did you call anybody else, Sue?
No, of course not.
Well, get rid of whoever it is. We can't afford to have anybody else around here.
Good morning. My name is Jones, Barnaby Jones. I'm trying to locate a young lady, April Dayton. I understand she was with Mr. Michaels last night.
Well, there's no April Dayton here, Mr. Jones. I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps Mr. Michaels might know where she is or could tell me where I could find her. Could I see him?
I'm sure Mr. Michaels doesn't keep track of every young girl he knows or of every groupie who says she knows him. Now, look, I'm very busy.
Well, I'd appreciate it if I could ask him the question myself. He was with her last night. They started out the evening together.
He's a very busy man, Mr. Jones. If you give me your card, I'm sure he'll call you if he can be of any help.
Well, thank you, Miss...
Ms. Page. I'm his manager.
Thank you.
Turn that water on?
Not me.
Well, somebody turned it on. Some idiot. Now, who'd be so stupid? I left instructions that that plaster had to dry. I have to do the thing all over again. I have more trouble with musicians' pools. What is it with musicians? I mean, you have to be a nut to be a musician.
How'd you like to have to reseed? You appreciate how much attention it takes to get grass to take hold during the rainy season?
What's the trouble, gentlemen?
You from the real estate broker? You handle this riddle here?
What's the problem?
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. Some idiot turned on the water on the new resurfacing, and it's all completely shot.
When did they turn it on?
When? Oh, 6-8 hours ago, judging by the rate of flow.
3 o'clock in the morning?
Right. Rick Michaels, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and look at that. Those ruts, those footprints all over it. You'd think they could tell it was new earth. And those new plantings back by the fence all trampled. You know, people never stop to consider that plants are living things, too.
It's from the shoes April was wearing.
You're positive?
They ought to be. They're my shoes. Where'd you find it?
Near Rick's pool. Did you do that checking I asked you to?
Yeah, no one's seen her. What did Rick say?
I didn't get to see him yet. Do you happen to know April's blood type?
Why? What happened?
Now, don't jump to conclusions.
Blood type? You're holding out on me. There's got to be something wrong.
No, take it easy. You're my client, and if there was anything wrong, I'd tell you.
Promise?
Promise.
Well, as a matter of fact, she does keep a hospital ID. Come on. I think it's type A. Or AO. I always forget. Here it is, Mr. Jones. It is type A.
Is April a diabetic?
How'd you know?
Prescription for Oronase.
You know, if she doesn't take that medicine every day, she really gets sick.
Barnaby Jones' office. May I help you?
Betty, try and locate a Dr. Floyd Hemmings in West Los Angeles. Tell him it's urgent that we locate April Dayton. If she should happen to call in or have a pharmacist call in to renew a prescription for Oronase, ask him to notify us immediately.
Oronase. Can do. Anything else?
No, thanks. I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.
Mr. Jones, if April is too uptight to come back here for her medicine, she can really be in trouble.
Well, wouldn't she be sensible enough to go see her own doctor?
She's not sensible. That's why I'm worried. She'd go to street people. I know she would.
Like who?
You know Smitty? Instead of John Doe, he calls himself Smith. Just Smith. The crowd April runs with. You need something under the counter. Smitty's the first one you'd ask.
Well, I'll take help from anybody. Let's us go see Smitty.
The other one is in the car.
You sure they're exactly alike?
They're twins. I got one for cash from a department store, and the other one on my credit card from that luggage shop in Beverly. Sure wish this thing was over.
Philip, now in exactly 1/2 hour, we get our first instructions from the kidnappers. And then we make sure that Earl or Carl stick with me and watch me every step of the way. Oh, for 15 years this town has kicked me around. And now I am finally gonna do it to them.
Rick Michaels' recording session's been temporarily postponed, no definite date. His one-nighter in Palo Alto on Wednesday's been canceled. The network has no information regarding rehearsal for the guest shot. How about you?
I don't have any yeses, but I got a couple of no's. The blood sample on the heel of her shoe is not hers. Neither is the dried blood on the telephone extension.
Is it Rick Michaels?
Yeah, why don't you give him a call, ask him what his blood type is? But it's not all negative. Take a look at this slide.
Sparkly stuff. Is it mica?
Yeah. Gunite, cement and plaster from the stuff that used to refinish his pool, the bottom of his pool. The sample came from her heel, too.
Carl, they called. Just now. Rick's all right. They guarantee... No, they wouldn't let me. Listen, we've got to have the money by 5 o'clock sharp. We get another call then. Good. Yes, Earl does too. Oh, okay, you'll bring it. Fine. See you then. Oh, look. We're all hanging in. You know that. They've got it. All of it.
Right on time. Glad you could make it, Mr. Jones. Well, Smitty said he could see us if we could make it by 5.
Fine. Where's his office?
Right here, he said.
Of course, we all know April. Lately, she's been coming up in the world. I don't know why she'd want to come to me.
We're both professionals. If you hear from April, give me a call, Mr. It is Smith.
It is, Jones?
For a long time. Here's 50. Be another 50 when you give me some information I can use.
Sounds heavy. I'll do what I can.
Call me anytime the service picks up.
Did you get my medicine, Smitty?
I promised, didn't I? Hey, April, I'm gonna take care of you. My place is yours. You're very important to me.
Me? Why? Please, Smitty, give me my medicine.
Lately, you're very important to a lot of people, April. How come?
It'll work on the same instrument?
Sure, we have 2 different numbers. I press the automatic dialer on the preset number, in this case our other line, and we've called ourselves.
You do think of everything.
What's the number of the phone booth at the gas station?
673-1673.
$4.20, $4.30, $4.40, $4.50, $4.60, $4.70, $4.80, $4.90, $500. Yes. Well, of course this is Sue Page. You recognize my voice, don't you? Is Rick all right? Can I speak to him? Oh, yes, I'm listening. Yes, we've got the money. No, of course it's not marked. No one's on an extension. Please, believe me, we're doing everything just like you say. The one up Old Sepulveda. Yes, I know the gas station. Right. Look, we'll do anything you say. We just want Rick back. In 30 minutes. Well, let me ask you one thing. Hello? Hello? Phil, put the money in the trunk.
Right.
Now, this is what they told me. Rick's all right. They want me in 30 minutes to meet them at this gas station.
It's right up to you, honey.
Oh, I'm scared. Carl, Earl, somebody come with me.
Do you think that'd be okay with...
Well, nobody said not to.
I'll go with you. Carl, you and Phil stay here by the phones, okay?
You think Rick Michaels is dead?
I think somebody's dead. Michaels has certainly been out of circulation lately. Hotel News been up there. Somebody, probably a couple of somebodies from the looks of the ground. They moved a heavy load in a wheelbarrow, probably a body, from the pool area down to a car, probably.
Well, maybe April isn't a victim. Maybe she's a criminal and she's running.
Maybe.
Where do Page and Rooney fit in?
Very protective, very uptight, very uncooperative. I'll go out on a limb and suggest that they're guilty of something that they want to keep quiet.
Well, if something happened to Michaels, wouldn't they want to find out the truth?
Betty, the answers are just as tough, but the questions are getting better all the time.
How's your drink?
Oh, nothing, Phil.
I'm going to freshen mine up.
What'd they say?
Take the money to the Sierra store in the valley. Leave it in the luggage department.
Okay, let's go.
If you've never taken a bus tour of Europe, then all the more reason for the double-reinforced lightweight two-suiter. It's sturdy, it's handsome, and it closes positively tight. And your hardware is guaranteed for 10 years.
Come on.
Look, there's a guy who looks like...
Don't mouse it up.
Now, I'd suggest an English heather tone for your husband and a lovely...
This waiting is something else, I mean.
What can any of us do? Carl, I'm busy. We've both blown our whole schedule.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Sue, any hour of the night.
You know I will. I'll be right at the phone.
And thanks, Sue. All the thanks in the world. I'll never forget this.
Hello?
Hello, Ms. Page. Here's Barnaby, Jones.
Mr. Jones, please don't bother me. I want to keep this line open, and I have nothing at all to tell you.
Well, I'm coming out to talk to you because I have some new information about April Dayton, and I want to check the facts with you.
Oh, hold on a minute. It's nothing at all. I'll get rid of it. Look, you know I'll call. We're all within 10 minutes of each other.
I'll walk out with you, fellas.
Sorry, Mr. Jones.
What you ought to know, Miss Page, is that I think there's been an accident, and with Miss Dayton missing and Mr. Michael, I'm looking into this pretty hard.
Well, I guess I can't stop you. And of course we want to cooperate, but...
Thank you. That's all I'm asking.
Join in that little drink. Do you realize what we've got? 5, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0.
Put it in the closet.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? What don't I know?
That Barnaby Jones wants to come out here and talk about April.
Tell him to fall off.
All we have to do is cool it. Go quietly crazy for Earl and Carl's benefit. Sweat out enough time for Rick really to be missing. And now that old idiot has to come and butt in.
You really worried? Sue.
Oh, of course I'm worried. I don't like surprises. What if that sex pot was here? What if she saw Rick take that dive? Oh, I'm going to pass the word along to those groupies. Smitty, anybody, find that girl.
Why bother? Just for Jones? He thinks he's lost her. She just got found.
Barnaby Jones.
Mr. Jones, Sue Page.
Oh, hello, Miss Page.
I've got great news. I was worried about April, too, of course, and I just heard from her.
Well, that's wonderful news. Where is she?
Well, she's down at the Springs. She called because she was trying to get in touch with Rick about a date she won't be able to keep. She called from the racket club. But I'm not sure if she'd still be there. And she sounded just fine.
Well, Miss Page, thanks for taking all this trouble to call me. I appreciate it. It's a big help.
No trouble at all. Glad to. Bye. He's off our backs for a while.
We were playing around at the pool.
Which was empty.
Well, yes, of course it was empty. Then we got out on the board. And he slipped. After he didn't move at all.
If it was an accident, why didn't you contact Beverly Hills Emergency or the police?
I just panicked. And beside, I was busted once, Mr. Jones. And I heard people, voices. I knew they'd find Rick and do whatever. I was stoned. I split.
You heard voices. Men's voices, women's, both?
Both. I think. Mr. Jones, couldn't she go home with me now and talk tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess you're right. The two of you going home, get some rest.
But what about Rick? Does anybody really know?
If anybody knows, they're not talking.
Can I help?
Thanks. No, we're parked in the garage. We're fine now. Thanks for everything. Come on.
Price of a car wash, what it is, Mr. Rooney, I don't blame you.
Well, you know the gag. My wife and my car, not necessarily in that order. What's new, Mr. Jones?
Well, I came out because I thought I must have gotten the message wrong about April Dayton. She certainly isn't anywhere in Palm Springs.
When girls like April Dayton descend on Palm Springs, they're usually looking for a very cozy spot and very, very private action. Nobody could find her if she didn't want to be.
Hear anything from Mr. Michaels?
Nada.
Phil! Phone call. It's important. You better hurry.
We'll let you know if we hear anything at all. You got room enough to turn around okay?
All by myself, thanks.
Later. I gave him nothing.
He's coming closer all the time. Smitty just called.
Oh, so what's that little hustler got?
Dynamite.
So there he was out in the hot sun doing everything all wrong. $100 Italian shoes, soaking wet. His $400 silk suit, all spattered. He came up to me like I was a side dish of spinach that he hadn't ordered. I just had to see what was so important about getting his car clean. Oh, Betty, over there in that envelope, there are the scrapings from the tire treads. Would you separate them for me?
Smitty.
It's okay, honey.
Well, how did you?
Gloria let me in. She's out doing some shopping. And I got the greatest news in the world for you.
Rick? Oh, tell me, is it about Rick?
He wants to see you right away.
He is all right? Oh, thank the Lord. Well, where is he, Smitty?
He's up at the house. He's not too clear on it. He's a little fuzzy yet. But he sure has been asking for you, honey.
Oh, that's the only medicine I need.
Orange peel. Eggshell, coffee grounds, and orange peel. What did that give you, Betty?
Breakfast?
I
couldn't believe it when Smitty told me.
Oh, Smitty had something to do.
But how is Rick? At least he's conscious and all right.
Pure luck or a thick skull. When did you leave, April? How much after?
Well, I'm getting it sorted out now. He fell, you know. Couldn't have been conscious when I went beside him. It scared me. It really scared me.
Then what did you do?
I was going to call. I did use the phone.
The one in the pool house?
Mm-hmm. But I hung up when I heard people coming. Well, I figured they'd take much better care of Rick than...
What people? Who, April? When? How long did you stay?
You found him. Now I remember. Our voices. You two found Rick dead.
It's a simple way to get some idea of how long this has been exposed to the air. Lead acetate turns dark in the presence of hydrogen sulfide.
Oh, it's not the prettiest odor.
No, some people call dried albumin rotten eggs. I'd say 3-4 days. Betty, get me Lieutenant Valdez.
You know, I still don't get it.
Put it all together, and what do you got? Garbage. Plus fragments of aluminum, bits of tin. Rooney's car went to the garbage dump. And when you add in this decomposed granite, that makes it the dump off Mulholland. Worth a shot.
Yes! It's the way I'm gonna get rid of you, you old...
Resuscitator!
Yes, sir. 10-4.
That girl's a lot healthier than some I've seen. She'll be all right once she gets over the effect of the chloroform.
Yes, April was lucky, and those two were lucky it wasn't murder.
Lieutenant Valdez,
Gentlemen, please, my clients have nothing to say at this time.
Don't look so smug, Mr. Jones. The girl's alive. We gave back all the money, and we didn't kill Rick. So you can't nail us with much.
I believe you're miscalculating. We just got a report from the coroner. Rick Michaels was still alive when you two shoved him into that bag. He died of asphyxiation. I believe the charge will be murder 1.
Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Susan Clark, Roger Perry, Lyndon Childs, special guest star John Vernon. Tonight's episode, Woman in the Shadows.
It's Lila Evanston. I think she's dying.
Oh, no.
Not now. Listen to me. I think she's dying.
All right. Hurry. Stat epinephrine. Resuscitate her.
Hank. Hank. You did the best you could.
I killed her. Anaphylactic shock. I shouldn't have used the experimental matrix in her reconstruction. She couldn't handle it.
No one will blame you.
Well, her husband will. And with his kind of money, he can make it stick.
The insurance company will handle it.
Again? It's taken me 2 years to come back from the last malpractice suit. I mean, there isn't a plastic surgeon alive who could survive this.
There must be something we can do.
Maybe there is. Lila Evanston herself saw the strong resemblance.
Oh, no. Hank, it would never work.
The bone structure wouldn't have to be changed at all. Just tissue alterations. Any discrepancy would be covered by the accident.
No, I won't do it. The voice, my hair.
The voice is easy. All we'd have to say is Lila Evanston had a laryngeal node removed. And the hair we can fix later.
No. No, please.
I'd owe my life to you. If you loved me. If you really loved me. Beautiful. Are you ready?
What if something goes wrong?
Look, we've been through all this. These last few weeks, you've learned more about Lila Evanston than her husband knew all the time they were married.
But sooner or later, he's got to know.
No. Her face was nearly destroyed in the accident. All you have to do is play it smart.
He was her husband.
John and Lila haven't been close for years. Come on.
Dr. Danvers? Mrs. Evans, I have your rooms all ready for you.
Thank you, Dodie. How's your son? Is he still in St. Louis?
Yes, Mrs. Emerson, and doing quite well. It's good to have you back.
It's nice to be home.
Take good care of our patient, Dodie. It's going to take a little while.
Yes, sir. You can depend on me.
Lila? I wasn't expecting you back today. I wish you told me. I was just on my way to London. I wanted to be back before they released you from the hospital.
I thought you might enjoy the surprise.
That's all right, John. I need rest anyway.
Are you sure it's okay?
Yes.
It's the first time I've seen your face without bandages.
Only if you promise not to be too critical.
You're a magician, Hank. You've really outdone yourself this time.
Wait till you see the bill.
How's the arm?
It's getting along nicely, and
I'm glad you're home, Lila.
It's nice to be home.
Well, on plane. Goodbye. Bye, Hank.
Goodbye. Well, Mrs. Evanston, we're done.
Mrs. Evanson, the doctor said you were to stay out of the sun.
Oh, yeah. Can I do that?
Sure. Oh, before I forget, Jimmy called. He says he's holding 3 o'clock open for you this afternoon.
Jimmy?
Mr. Collin. He says no one's to see you till he does your hair.
Oh.
Excuse me. It's the gentleman from your insurance company. He said it was important. I told him you weren't seeing visitors.
That's all right, Dodie. Good morning.
Ms. Evanson, I'm Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator retained by California Meridian Insurance to look into your accident.
Oh. Well, that was over 3 months ago. I supposed all that had been taken care of.
Well, at the suggestion of your doctor, we didn't bother you for a little while, but since your chauffeur was killed and the gentleman driving the other car was killed, we didn't have much to go on.
I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help. You see, I have no memory of that accident.
Then you don't know how fast your chauffeur was driving.
Sorry, it's a total blank.
But your chauffeur was driving. That's true, isn't it?
Well, he would have to be. You see, I don't drive. I don't even have a license. You did say you were working for my insurance company.
Well, you see, the family of the gentleman who was driving the other car, the one who was killed, is suing for $1 million, and we'd sort of like to know all the facts.
I'm sorry. I don't remember anything.
Lila? What are you doing out here? I distinctly gave you orders not to expose yourself to the sun.
Dr. Danvers' bark is worse than his bite.
Only when my patients don't look after themselves.
This is Mr. Barnaby Jones. He's a private investigator for the insurance company about the accident.
Howdy.
Howdy do.
I've been meaning to call you, just routine questions.
Routine? But a lot of them.
I see you're familiar with insurance companies.
Insurance paperwork is a millstone around every doctor's neck. Call my secretary. She'll make an appointment for you.
Oh, sure.
And now, if you don't mind, Mr. Jones, I'd like to examine my patient.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Evanston. I'll see myself out.
Bye.
It's something we didn't count on.
If he's all we have to worry about.
You know, you ask me, the real wonder, does anyone live through that crash?
Were you at the scene of the accident?
Oh, yeah. I got there before the ambulance. See, I got this 460 mil in that rig of mine, and nothing can outrun it, not even a black and white if I get a head start.
Was the chauffeur and the driver of the other car alive when you got there?
No. Matter of fact, I thought the lady was dead, too. The way her face was all messed up. She would have been, too, if she'd been pinned behind the wheel. Look, I told all this to the police about 3 months ago. Say, they said to leave everything just as it is.
Yeah, I know. Ms. Evanston said the chauffeur was driving.
Well, that's hard to tell. They were both thrown clear. Looked to me like he was thrown from the passenger side, though. She was on the driver's side when I found her.
Car could have spun around after they were thrown out.
Yeah, could have done most anything.
Did Mrs. Evanston talk to you that night?
No, like I said, she was in awful bad shape. Sorry, I'm afraid I gotta run, man. Look, I should have taken off 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll just look around.
Yeah, okay, go right ahead.
Mrs. Evanston, how nice you look. You don't know how happy we are to have you back.
Thank you, Rita.
Mr. Collin is tied up right now, but he gave specific instructions that I was to take you directly back to his private studio. The roses are for you.
I mean that, you know. Every word of it. Well, aren't you going to say anything?
I don't know what to say.
Well, you could start by saying thank you very much for the flowers.
Thank you for the...
And then I can kiss you. And we can start talking about getting out of here and going to my place.
Not today.
What? Lila, the hospital can't possibly have changed you that much. This is your Jimmy boy.
Well, it's just that I'm not feeling well, and Jimmy, I don't want you to rush things.
My goodness. Things really have changed. And what's this?
What are you talking about?
That birthmark. It's your hairline. It's not there anymore.
Dr. Danvers removed it.
He did? My goodness, no scar, huh? He's very meticulous.
Very good.
Well. Your hair is different. Your voice is different. My Lila is a whole different woman.
Dr. Danvers He's a magician.
Yes, he certainly is.
I have to go.
Yes, maybe you better. You're looking a little pale. And I'll tell you what, maybe under the circumstances, it might be better if I came to see you tomorrow.
Mighty thin file. Is this all there was on the Evanston accident?
Well, it's just an accident case, Barnaby. We need our file space for murder and mayhem.
Well, it'll be a lot thicker before I get through. According to the autopsy report, they found no blood alcohol in the chauffeur or the driver of the other car. Did they run a test on Mrs. Evanston?
Oh, it's not routine procedure to run a test on the passenger.
If she was a passenger.
Didn't think she drove.
Well, she doesn't have a license, but that doesn't prove she wasn't behind the wheel of the car. According to the diagram, there were no skid marks, no spin, but it looks for all the world like she may have come out of the car on the driver's side.
Yeah, well, high-speed impact does some funny things.
Or alcohol. Our company's going to have a lot better evidence than this to defend Mrs. Evanston in a civil suit.
Well, what does she say?
Well, that's just a thing. She claims she doesn't remember. I wish I could find just one person who would definitely testify that she was not behind the wheel of that limousine.
Jones Deli and Catering. With fast and friendly service, we deliver. Hi, Lieutenant.
Betty. Betty, were you able to track down that parking stub?
Will you listen to the man? I float in here on the aroma of hot pastrami and cold potato salad. He wants to know about a ticket stub. Excuse me. Yes, I did. No, I tracked down 7 companies before I found the one that printed that stub.
The one you found in the limousine?
Yeah. Came from a place called the Blue Heron.
At the beach?
Yeah. I think I'll take a run out there.
But you haven't had a bite of lunch.
Well, you know how it is. One bite leads to another. You like hot pastrami, don't you, Lieutenant?
It's the fruits of being self-employed. Now, the police department gives you a full half hour for lunch, whether you need it or not.
Oh, Brutus! Sit.
Come on, Brutus. Fella, how are you, huh? Never thought I'd see the day when you and Brutus would become friends.
You're back early.
Yes, I should have phoned you from the airport. I know how you hate surprises.
Not at all. How did things go in London?
Negotiations ended early, so came back here to coordinate the efforts.
It all sounds very hectic.
Truth is, it wasn't hectic at all. I left before negotiations started.
Why?
Because I thought I saw something. Something in your face when you came home. Just want to make sure it wasn't my imagination.
I thought you were pleased with the results of the operation.
I am. It's not that. But looking at you now, I realize that I've been guilty of too many trips like this one. Unnecessary trips to unnecessary places. You know what I mean.
No, I'm afraid I don't, not unless you tell me.
Well, I've never been very good at talking to you. Strange it should seem different now.
Come on, John. I don't think I've changed that much.
I had a lot of chance to think on that plane. For the last 7 years, we've done our best to make each other miserable.
Is I really that awful?
Let me finish this, otherwise it will never be said. Dr. Danvers told me that the node removal would alter your voice, a slight change in your appearance, maybe even your personality. I want you to know, Lila, I welcome those changes.
That's the nicest thing you could say to me, John.
mister. The kind of place that I run here, it wouldn't pay if the word got out that I talked out of turn. You know what I mean? Good. Hey, thank you. A fella brings a secretary in for a little drink, a little employer-employee relationship. It's really none of my business.
Ever seen this woman?
Yeah, I have. She used to come in here once or twice a week. Limousine always used to park in the lot here and wait for her.
Good. Now, I'm here because I'm looking for someone who has seen her drive that car.
Gee, no, the chauffeur is the only one I've ever seen drive it. Of course, that was quite a while back.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months ago. She always used to come in here alone and meet the guy here.
You know the guy's name?
Sure. His name is Jimmy. That's all I know.
Could you describe him to me?
Yeah, sure. Medium height, good-looking guy, dark. He's kind of a real smooth operator, you know?
Well, if you ever see him again, call that number.
Oh, yeah, hey, thanks. For these kind of prices, I'd deliver the guy to your doorstep if I see him.
Just amazing.
What is it?
Your hair really has changed. However, I have a feeling that I can do a lot more with this.
Why don't you say exactly what you mean?
Look, darling, you can play games with your husband if you want to, but I know you're not Lila Evanston. I've known ever since the first time I touched your hair. You forget that I knew Lila a lot better than anyone else. I would like you to know that I admire what you've done.
What do you want?
Lila was crazy about me. She used to give me things all the time. Clothes, car, really nice things. She had wonderful taste.
You'd like to keep on getting nice things.
Mm-hmm. Only what's fair, though. I mean, you are getting yours. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't get mine. Actually, I've had my eye on a little shop in San Francisco.
How much?
$50,000.
I haven't got that kind of money.
You can get it. I know you can.
Look, it's just not as simple as that. I mean, the money you're asking for
It's just money, right? Actually, you'd be contributing to the development of a great talent. One day I expect to have a shop in Las Vegas, Miami, Chicago. I think big, just like you.
Mr. Jones, you're asking me to break the confidence of the doctor-patient relationship.
Doctor, your patient is facing a very serious lawsuit. From all the evidence I've been able to gather, she was driving the night of the accident.
Well, that's nonsense.
I've just come from the emergency hospital where they looked at Mrs. Evanston the night of the accident. Their blood workups indicate a high concentration of alcohol, which could support a felony drunk driving charge.
Well, I can assure you she said nothing to me that would indicate anything like this. I thought you were supposed to be on her side.
I am.
Well, the best way to help her is to forget the accident. Her husband is an extremely wealthy man. He can afford the settlement, whatever it might be.
No one can afford manslaughter.
Well, all I know is that she can't afford to go on reliving that accident for the rest of her life. I mean, she's better off not remembering.
Too bad that is a medical opinion and not a legal one.
Are you quite finished, Mr. Jones? I have some work to attend to.
Well, I won't keep you. I wonder if you could tell me where I could find Nurse Mayberry. Karen Mayberry?
Well, what do you want with Nurse Mayberry?
Well, our company sent her several checks covering round-the-clock care for Mrs. Evanston. You and I know that Mrs. Evanston would be more likely to talk to her than anyone else.
Nurse Mayberry is no longer with us. She left town, I understand.
When was that?
About 6 weeks ago.
She leave a forwarding address?
No, she didn't.
Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
But not if you have more important things to occupy your mind with. Now, if you don't mind, Mr. Jones, I really do have some work.
Well, I don't want to hold you, and I better get going myself. I want to get down to the nurse's registry before it closes.
Nurse's registry?
Yes, I figure anyone as capable as Nurse Mayberry would be signing in somewhere just about the time you got settled. See you.
Dr. Danvers for you.
Hank?
Yes. Can you talk?
Yeah, what is it?
That, detective, Mr. Jones, was just here. He's looking for Karen Mayberry. Are you sure you took care of everything?
Well, I closed the apartment. Yeah, I think so.
What do you mean you think?
All right, yes. Hank, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Good, because Mr. Jones isn't our only problem. That hairdresser, James Cullen, was back.
What did he want?
I told you already, he knows. He wants $50,000. Hank, let's give it up. I'm scared. It's not going to work.
Now, you just hold on, dear. I'll talk to Mr. Cullen, and I'll call you back.
Good night, Rita.
Good night.
That you, George? Listen, George, we've left you quite a mess here today. You make it sparkle, and I'll take care of you on payday, all right? What do you want? We're closed.
Are you James Cullen?
Yeah, what do you want? We're closed. All right, okay, you want the money? It's over here in the drawer. Just hang on a second. Wait till I turn off the water.
There you are. I don't want your money.
May I help you, Doctor?
Yes, ma'am. Jones is the name. Is Dr. Danvers in today?
No, he isn't. Is there something I can do?
Yes, ma'am. I'm really looking for the nurse that Dr. Danvers used to go with.
Oh, Miss Mayberry.
Yes, that's the one.
I'm afraid you're a little late. She left some time ago. Surprise to all of us, I might add.
Yes, I know. I checked the nurse's registry, and she didn't leave a forwarding address. I thought possibly she may have taken a private job with possibly one of the doctors that worked with Dr. Danvers.
That would take a lot of checking.
Not really. I'm just interested in the doctors who worked on the Lila Evanston case.
Oh, well, that should be right here. Now, let's see. Assisting physicians Luce and Thompson. Anesthesia nurse, Karen Mayberry. Of course, this was just the first procedure, the one they did at St. Agnes. There's no one listed here for the second operation.
Oh. I didn't know there was a second operation.
One evening, about 3 weeks into her convalescence, a minor tissue repair. Dr. Danvers often handles those right here.
I see. Oh, would you happen to have a personnel picture of Nurse Mayberry that I could borrow?
Yes. Here it is.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll get this right back to you. And do you happen to know the name of the neurosurgeon who took care of Mrs. Evanston's arm? I understand from emergency hospital report here that she suffered some damage to the radial nerve.
Dr. William Fairmont. Yes, poor thing. She could hardly hold a glass in her left hand. They decided not to intervene.
Oh, I thought they'd done a repair. Her hand looked just fine.
I'm afraid not. The neurosurgeon decided to wait 6 to 9 months to see if the nerve would repair itself.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you again.
Oh, Dr. Jones, if you don't locate Miss Maybury, I've always wanted to work for someone with a charming bedside manner.
Miss Dobbs, I assure you that when I need a nurse, you'll be the first one I call for.
You're coming along beautifully, my dear. A nice piece of work, even if I do say so myself.
James Collin? How do you feel about that nice piece of work?
I don't know what you're talking about. It was an accident. A fortunate one, I admit, but nevertheless an accident.
Oh, come on, Hank. Between the amphetamines and the barbiturates, you're beginning to believe your own lies.
If something had to be done, he did it himself.
Hank, look, I began this masquerade to save you, but this is murder.
Look, in a little while, you'll get a quickie divorce. It'll all be over. I'm sure Evanston will lay quite a settlement on you.
No. A divorce, okay, but I'm not going to take advantage of him. He's a nice man. I don't want to hurt him.
That sounds a little ominous. Do I detect a little bit of conscience then? Or are you falling in love with a shy, reluctant friend?
Mr. Jones, won't you come in?
Thank you.
Dr. Danvers, I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No. We're quite finished. If you'll excuse me, I have some telephoning to do.
Oh, surely.
Would you like a cup of tea, Mr. Jones?
Oh, no, thanks. I don't think so, not at the moment. You know, I feel a little bit like a young man out on a blind date for the first time. He winds up with his sister.
I don't understand.
Well, you see, I've been looking for Nurse Mayberry, hoping that possibly you had said something to her which might enable me to clear up the circumstances of your accident.
Well, I'm sorry I wasn't more helpful.
Well, the problem is that I was unable to find Nurse Mayberry, so I'm back here now hoping that she may have said something to you which would enable me to find her.
I don't recall anything.
Well, it's a chance. You recall a club named the Blue Heron? Does that mean anything to you?
No, I've never heard of it. Am I supposed to?
You know, I think I will have that cup of tea if you don't mind.
Certainly.
The young man at the Blue Heron says he remembers seeing you there, possibly the night of the accident. He said you were with a very handsome young man.
I've told you before that I have no memory of that entire day.
Oh, could I have 2 lumps of sugar, please? He said he saw you there on a number of occasions. You don't recall anything of that nature?
Afraid not. I'm sure it's a case of mistaken identity.
You know, that was pretty good.
What?
The way you handle those sugar tongs. With your left hand.
I'm sorry, but
They told me at the hospital that you couldn't use the fingers of your left hand for 6 weeks after the accident. Couldn't even hold a glass of water.
If you were a medical man, Mr. Jones, you'd know that spontaneous nerve regeneration is not unusual.
Mrs. Evanston is very fortunate. Did you also take care of the laceration on her left forearm? I hardly noticed a scar.
That's my line of work, too.
Congratulations, Doctor. You've done your work well. Well, Mrs. Evanston, Dr. Danvers, good day. I know my way out.
Good day.
He knows.
He knows, but he can't prove anything.
Mr. French from the Blue Heron.
Yes, Mr. French.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Jones, I found your man for you.
That's good. Did you get his name?
It's that, Mr. James. His picture's in the paper today. It's that hairstylist that, got himself electrocuted.
Betty, could I have the morning paper? Are you sure that this is the same man that you saw with Mrs. Evanston?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I've seen him with your lady a number of times.
Thank you very much. Well, Betty, looks like Lila Evanston lost her boyfriend before she remembered who he was.
I don't quite follow that.
Lila Evanston stands to lose $1 million lawsuit, maybe even go to jail. But instead of helping, all she's done is lie.
Lie? But you said the shock of the accident could have destroyed all memory of that evening.
But only for that evening. What about before then? She denies ever having heard of the Blue Heron, yet she went there repeatedly to meet James Collins. Now, she was either lying or she never heard about it in the first place.
How do you explain it?
I explain it like this. I don't believe that Lila Evanston ever left that hospital alive.
What?
Look, I'll show you. Now, all of these pictures are the same head size. This is a newspaper picture of Lila before the accident. Now, look at the discrepancies when you measure it against the picture of Lila Evanston following the accident.
Barnaby, you said yourself that the surgery was extensive.
But there's one measurement that doesn't vary. That's the difference between the pupils. 2.5 millimeters. They just don't match.
Well, could it be the enlargement you made?
No, because I measured the size of the iris. You see, the measurements are exactly the same between these two. And that's the reason I could never find Nurse Mayberry. She was hiding behind the face of Lila Evanston.
Refreshments.
Sort of early in the day for champagne, isn't it?
No, not when it's a maid's afternoon off.
Now, you said you'd be patient.
Well, I thought things were different between us.
They are. I just want things to be right.
See? The afternoon is right for champagne. Now, here's the plan. Let's get away from here. I mean, just the two of us. Let's go someplace where we can be alone. What do you say?
I don't know. There's so many preparations.
No, they're all taken care of. Look, I got the plane tickets right here. By tomorrow morning, we can be in the Hotel Copenhagen. In the same honeymoon suite. Please, Lila. Come with me.
You really want me to go?
More than anything I've ever wanted in my life.
I'd like that. All right.
Good.
But you'll have to give me time to get some wardrobe because I don't have a thing to wear this time of year in Denmark. I must say you don't give a girl much time. Passport. Hey, what time do we have to be at? What's the matter?
The Hotel Copenhagen isn't in Denmark.
It's in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah. Well, if I'd ever been there, I would have known that, wouldn't I? I'm not going to lie to you anymore. I didn't enjoy lying.
Where's Lila?
She's dead. She died after surgery.
Well, who are you?
I'm Karen Mabry, Lila's nurse.
What happened?
Hank took a chance that he shouldn't have, and...
Well, why did you go through all this?
To protect Hank. Because I thought I needed him, and...
And you let me fall in love with you?
Yep. It's the only part of this I didn't mind.
Very touching. No one answered the front door, so I let myself in.
You're responsible for this.
You said yourself it was a remarkable job.
You tell that to the police. Oh, since you're so proud.
All right, come on, let's get him out of here.
No. No, I'm not going on with this nightmare any longer.
You help me or I finish him right here.
Be careful.
All right, get in. All right. Just handle it cool.
Folks going somewhere?
Yeah. To the clinic. Gonna run some tests.
Well, this will only take a minute. Miss Evanson, I wonder if you'd mind looking at this photograph for me. Can you identify this woman?
Yes, of course. It's Karen Mayberry.
What is this? You didn't have to trouble Mrs. Evanson with that photograph?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did. You see, a photograph picks up excellent fingerprints. And if my suspicions are correct, the prints will be the same as those of the lady in the picture.
What are you talking about?
Karen Mayberry. You see, Mrs. Evanson didn't have a fingerprint record, but Miss Mayberry did. She may be wearing Lila's face, but I'm betting that those are the fingertips of a nurse.
Mr. Jones.
I don't think we need to listen to any more nonsense. Good day, Mr. Jones.
Good day.
No! No! No!
Hold it!
She looks fine, doesn't she?
Well, I think your coming to see her accounted for a lot of that.
You know, what charges is she going to have to face, once she recovers?
Well, from what we've learned from Dr. Danvers, Karen had nothing to do with Colin's death or with Danvers' assault on you. It's mostly a case of fraud.
Well, whatever it is, I'll make sure she has the best legal representation possible. I assume you're available to help them defend her.
Just call on me.
Thank you. Eddie?
Did I miss something? But is he going to defend Karen Mayberry after all this?
He has to. He loves her very much. And after what she did for him, I have a feeling it goes both ways. What's the matter? Something wrong?
No. I'm just a sucker for a happy ending, that's all.